Why is it that some men walk into a room and instantly capture female attention, while others, no matter how genuine or successful, remain invisible? Is it height? Is it money? Is it the jawline? Or is it something deeper? Something buried in the unconscious mind? Sigmund Freud believed that every desire we feel, every attraction, every rejection isn't truly a choice. It's a reaction rooted in instinct, shaped by trauma, and disguised as logic. Today, we're going into the depths, not just of what women say they want in a man, but what they actually desire, even if they don't fully understand it themselves. This isn't pickup advice. This is raw, psychological truth. Freud is about to explain. Chapter 1. The Hidden Engine of Desire. Freud believed that we are not rational beings. We are emotional creatures driven by urges we can't see and patterns we can't name. At the core of this theory is the unconscious mind, the part of the mind that stores every suppressed desire, every childhood memory, every shameful thought we pretend doesn't exist. Attraction, according to Freud, is not a logical checklist. It's not about the job, or the car, or the social status. Those are surface layers. The real reason a woman is drawn to a man is because he awakens something in her unconscious mind, a connection to her past, a reflection of something familiar, or something dangerously unknown. Sometimes it's desire, sometimes it's rebellion, and sometimes it's trauma. Freud called it the repetition compulsion, the tendency to be drawn to people who resemble emotional patterns we've already lived, especially from childhood. So what does that mean? It means a woman might be attracted to a man who resembles her emotionally unavailable father, not because she wants to suffer again, but because her unconscious mind is trying to recreate the original wound in the hopes of finally healing it. It sounds dark, but it's real, and we all do it. Chapter 2. Masculinity as a symbol. Now let's ask the real question. What is masculinity? In the eyes of the female unconscious, Freud argued that women don't simply fall in love with a man. They fall in love with what that man represents. Strength, safety, mystery, dominance, or even chaos. But here's the twist. What each woman desires symbolically is different. One might see a soft-spoken man as a symbol of emotional intelligence and safety. Another might see the same man as weak and uninteresting. Why? Because of her story, her background, her childhood blueprint of what love felt like. Masculinity is not one size fits. It's a projection screen, and every woman is projecting something different. Freud didn't believe in universal attraction. He believed in personal mythology. Every woman carries a myth of what a man is built from her experiences, her father, her first heartbreak, her unresolved emotions. When a man enters her life, she doesn't see him. She sees the myth, and if he fits it, she feels drawn, not by logic, but by something older than thought itself. Chapter 3. The Power of the Shadow. Carl Jung. Freud's student later expanded this theory with something called the shadow self, but Freud planted the seed. He believed that people are attracted to the traits they've repressed within themselves. This is where the concept of the bad boy comes in. Why do so many women feel magnetically pulled toward men who are emotionally unavailable, reckless, or even dangerous? Because these men embody something the woman has buried in herself: freedom, defiance, raw, unapologetic instinct. Even if it leads to pain, the attraction is real, because it's the unconscious craving expression through another person. And here's the truth most men never hear. You don't need to be a bad person, but you do need to stop being overly safe, overly predictable, overly polite. Because if a man hides every ounce of darkness, aggression, or assertiveness, he becomes invisible to the unconscious mind. Not because he's not good, but because he's not whole. The unconscious doesn't want a mask. It wants depth. Chapter 4. Sexual energy and psychological polarity. Freud also believed that sexuality was not just about the act. It was energy, a force that shapes our identity. He called it the libido, not just physical, but psychic energy. And one of the most attractive things a man can embody is unblocked sexual confidence. Not arrogance, not desperation, but grounded, embodied sexual energy. This is why confident men attract even when they say very little. They radiate presence. They're connected to their own desire. They're not seeking permission to exist. And this polarity between grounded, masculine presence and open feminine expression creates magnetic tension. A woman doesn't just want a man who's nice. She wants a man who makes her feel like a woman. Not because he says romantic things, but because his energy invites her to surrender, to relax, to trust, to let go of control. When a man is unsure of himself, she feels the need to lead, and that kills polarity, because the unconscious attraction between masculine and feminine energy is based on difference, not sameness. Chapter 5. Security vs. excitement. There's a battle inside every woman between two desires: the desire for safety and the desire for excitement. Freud believed that humans are constantly pulled between the pleasure principle, which wants satisfaction now, and the reality principle, which delays gratification for long-term peace. In attraction, this becomes a paradox. Women often say they want a reliable man, stable, safe, consistent, but they also want to feel something: adventure, passion, danger. Most men choose one side. They either become the safe provider or the wild lover. But the man who learns how to be both, that's the man who stays unforgettable, the man who makes her feel safe, yet remains a mystery she can never quite solve. That duality, Freud would argue, is what the unconscious truly craves: a fusion of opposites, a symbol of wholeness. Chapter 6. The Oedipus Code. Asterisk, we can't talk about Freud and attraction without mentioning the most controversial theory of all, the Oedipus complex. Freud believed that during early childhood, every boy unconsciously desires his mother and sees his father as a rival, and in reverse. Girls unconsciously desire the attention of their father and feel rivalry toward the mother. While modern psychology has challenged many parts of this theory, the deeper symbolism remains powerful. We are shaped by our earliest relationships, and those patterns echo into adulthood. A woman who felt neglected by her father might chase unavailable men. A woman who felt smothered might crave emotional distance. A woman who felt overprotected might rebel by choosing chaotic partners. Attraction is rarely about the present moment. It's a reenactment of the past, and until those unconscious stories are brought to light, they will keep writing her love life over and over again. Asterisk. Chapter 7. What women really want. So, after everything Freud proposed, what do women really want in a man? Not just on the surface, not just the Instagram version, but in the unconscious. Here's what Freud might say. They want a man who is whole, who has integrated his instincts, instead of hiding them, a man who isn't just safe, but also stimulating, not just loyal, but also alive, not just smart, but also emotionally in tune. They want polarity, not perfection. They want presence, not performance. They want a man who is deeply in touch with his masculine energy, yet not afraid of his own vulnerability, a man who can lead, but never dominate, a man who can challenge, but never belittle, a man who doesn't just understand psychology, but embodies it. That's what's attractive. And the moment you stop chasing approval and start embracing your essences, the moment you stop attracting attention and start attracting desire. Chapter 8. Freud. Rejection and the unconscious filter. Let's talk about rejection. Freud didn't see rejection as random, he saw it as revelation. When a woman feels no attraction toward a man, it's not always because something is wrong. With him, it's because something deep inside her doesn't resonate with what he represents. You could say all the right things, have the right goals, even look the part, but the unconscious mind isn't listening to logic, it's scanning. 4 patterns: emotional familiarity, psychic resonance. Sometimes, she's not rejecting you. She's rejecting a version of herself she doesn't want to revisit. The way you smile, the way you carry pain, your silence, your kindness, your intensity. It triggers something in her psyche. Maybe it's comfort, maybe it's danger, maybe it's a memory she never made peace with. Freud would argue, every rejection is a reflection of an internal filter, and the more self-aware you become, the less personally you'll take it, because you'll realize, attraction isn't about being enough. It's about being the right mirror for the right story. Chapter 9. The fantasy and the reality. Freud also believed that much of what we seek and love is not the person themselves, but the fantasy they allow us to live inside. Women, like men, carry unconscious fantasies, some born from childhood, others from stories, movies, or moments of pain and pleasure. When a woman meets a man who fits her internal fantasy, her body reacts before her mind catches up. But here's the danger: the more you try to be your fantasy, the more disconnected you become from your truth. And over time, she'll feel that, not consciously, but somatically she'll feel that something is off. Something is missing, something doesn't feel real. And that's when attraction begins to fade. Because women don't just want a man who fits a role, they want a man who embodies something real, even if it breaks the fantasy, especially if it does, because truth creates trust, and trust is the foundation of lasting desire. Chapter 10. Mother energy vs. lover energy. This may surprise you, but one of the biggest attraction killers isn't what you do wrong, it's what you unconsciously invite. The mother energy dynamic. Freud observed that many men, especially those with unresolved childhood wounds, project their emotional needs onto women. They don't look for a lover. They look for a nurturer, a savior, a replacement for what was never fully given. They crave safety, softness, unconditional approval. But when a woman senses this, something in her shifts. She may feel compassion, but not desire. Because desire doesn't flow toward a man who's asking to be mothered. Desire flows toward a man who holds his own center, who leads his own life, who allows her to be the lover, not the caretaker. Freud would say, until you heal the child inside you, you'll keep attracting women who don't see you as a man. Chapter 11. The return of the repressed. Freud had a chilling phrase: is repressed, returns. He believed that any emotion we bury, any pain, fear, or desire we refuse to face, eventually resurfaces, often in our relationships. And here's where it gets fascinating. A man who represses anger may attract a woman who's emotionally fiery. A man who represses vulnerability may attract a woman who demands emotional depth. Why? Because life has a strange way of forcing us to confront what we run from. through other people. Relationships, Freud believed, are not accidents, they're assignments. Every woman you attract is, in some way, a messenger, a reflection, a test. She's showing you parts of yourself you've denied, or parts you've abandoned. And the more unconscious you remain, the more you'll call it fate. When really, it's the return of the repressed. Chapter 12, Freud and Modern Attraction. You might be wondering, do Freud's ideas still hold weight in today's world? After all, we live in a time of dating apps, gender fluidity, instant gratification, and new relationship paradigms. So, what does a 19th century psychoanalyst have to say to the modern man? Surprisingly everything. Because while the culture has changed, the unconscious hasn't. We still carry childhood wounds. We still seek validation. We still project stories onto strangers and call it chemistry. We swipe left or right, thinking we're choosing freely, but often, we're being pulled by forces we don't fully understand. And if you want to become truly attractive in today's world, it won't come from strategies or scripts. It comes from self-ownership, knowing your shadow, owning your darkness, refining your edges, because the man who does that is rare. And in a world of confusion and chaos, a rare man becomes magnetic. Chapter 1-3, The Integrated Man. So what does it all lead to? What does it look like to become the kind of man Freud believed women are unconsciously drawn to? It's not a type. It's a state of being. An integrated man is not perfect. He is whole. He's grounded in his masculine essence, but not afraid of emotion. He leads but listens. He protects but doesn't control. He can sit with discomfort as own and hers. He doesn't chase approval. He radiates presence. He doesn't manipulate attraction. He amplifies it through truth. Women don't fall for the act. They fall for the man who no longer needs one, because deep down, they're not just looking for a man to fall in love with. They're looking for a man who makes them feel safe, to finally be themselves. And that begins when you finally become yourself. Chapter 14, The Final Truth. Freud knew. At the end of his life, Freud was asked, what do people really want? He paused and replied, to love and to work. In other words, we want connection and we want purpose. Every attraction, every desire, every heartbreak leads back to that. To love and to work. To build something real within ourselves and to share that with someone without losing it. Because at the core of every woman's attraction to a man is a silent question. Can I trust you with my heart without losing myself? And if your energy says yes, not just with words, but with being, she won't just be attracted, she'll be magnetized. Not by strategy, but by something far deeper, by your truth. Freud peeled back the layers, but the rest is up to you. If you've made it this far, you're not looking for surface answers. You're seeking depth, understanding, power without manipulation, the kind of power that only comes from integration. So, ask yourself, where am I still performing? What parts of me have I rejected? And what would happen if I stopped chasing approval and started trusting my essence? That is the path to true attraction. And if you're ready to walk that path, welcome. You're no longer just learning psychology, you're embodying it. If this spoke to something deep inside you, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, share it with someone who's ready to see behind the mask, and most of all, keep going, because the world doesn't need more nice guys, it needs more integrated men, and you're closer than you think.